Hope everybody's having a great night. Hope nobody got like super wrecked. Um, I talked a little bit in White Phoenix's stream last night, and come on, guys, things are doing what things are doing, man. Um, so let's bare bones this real quick. Can I save? Let's see. See, save layout. No. Copy. Okay. Nice. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end up going to, let's just say this guy right here. All right. And let's. It might be a little different levels. Let's see. Most part with the volume, you notice that a lot of the volume develops in the same areas, along different exchanges. All right. So we're going to be talking mainly about the larger macro, all right, time frames, not macro, but like daily, 12-hour, 8-hour. And then we'll work our way down. So first, we're going to zoom in, or we're going to look at this, examine this. Oh, got to turn the magnet off. We're going to examine this right here. All right. And then we're going to talk about this and where we're at and what we're doing. All right, so first things first, man, you know me, volume profiles. This is, I think, the most important thing. It gives you a lot of insight to where you could be going, where, what part needs to be revisited, and really like where you're gonna find support and resistance at. All right, and it's nice because you have like me, Thor, and White Phoenix. We all trade similarly but differently at the exact same time. Like all of our levels, we end up coming within $100 to $200 of each other's levels, but we get to that point differently. All right, me personally, I like the volume profiles. It's very intuitive. You see a big peak here, you could assume you're gonna catch resistance. Look what happened. We came up here, caught resistance, and gotten smacked down. What a whopping, let's see, a whopping 15%. So resistance, resistance. Where do we find bounces from? Again, if we're falling down and we get to a little ledge, you expect some type of reaction around that area. What did we get? Initially, we got a bounce. We tried to keep on pushing up. What did we hit? We hit this little node up here. All right, so that's why I'm saying for me it's intuitive. Like I can make sense of it because it's very visual. It's very visual, you know. So pretty much, guys, you know the deal. What I'm doing, just from this standpoint, I am going to start drawing some horizontal lines at each one of these nodes. Kind of give us a looky-loo about where we're going. Just so we have it going from left to right, I'm going to use the volume profile, the fixed range volume profile. I'm pulling from the same area, and you can see these are identical. Like, these are identical. They're the same thing. All right, so that's why I like using both of them, because then I can have the lower time frames. So I'm going to put this range with the anchor volume profile just so you can see in real time what we're running up against. All right, and what I'm going to be looking at. So I'm just going to start marking these levels. Let me get rid of this. Boom. All right, and let's see, template HVN. Boom. All right, and guys, it's nothing crazy. It's really nothing crazy. You're just going about, anytime you see some type of like peak or high node, you're gonna put a line there. You're gonna put a line there. All right, and you can get crazy with it. You really can. The reason why I'm not pulling it back any further, because all I'm concerned about is what's really happening in this area right now. All right. And the thing is, this is all-time highs. This is all-time highs. This was price discovery when we first came up here. There was nothing to the left. So there's no reason for me to pull my volume profile any further to the left because it's going to give me the same data. Like, look, if I come over here, it's the same exact nodes. You know what I mean? Like for that, I would do this. If I wanted to see that bottom range, keep track of where we're going. There we go. I would do that and I would do that. I'd have two separate ranges and keep an eye out of it like that. You know what I mean? So right now I'm just concerned really about this bottom area all the way down to the low at 75 because that's the stuff that we're closest to at the moment. So now I go in and I start looking. I start looking on what's it called? On Monday. Monday, we were looking up around 70, no, 91. All right, 90, 91K was a good area, and you can see why. We had resistance up here. It was the middle of this low volume node. All right, so now we have our macros level. All right, and what you guys can see is these macro levels, guys, it's all about breaking and retesting or breaking and holding, like looking for the confirmation of being accepted back in. So a couple things I can see kind of happening right now where price is going to kind of develop a new range, if we don't just take out the lows or a V-shaped recovery to the highs, is that we're going to come in here and we're probably going to range around one of these imbalances. All right? And it's tough, but it's not tough because why do I need to worry about the imbalance from 91 to 96 when we're only at $84,000? So I feel like it gives you a very, very immediate game plan moving forward from where you're at. All right. So what I'm looking for now, and we've still yet to find it. The daily doesn't look horrible, but if you look on the lower time frames, you can kind of see we've already broken this high volume node and we're coming back for the retest. All right. So you guys know, all right, if you guys been watching my streams, if you haven't been watching my streams, there's two plays when we get to a high volume node. All right. Either we break under it as we're coming back up, we retest the node and we get knocked down. All right. So like I said, you break under it, you come back up, retest, get swept back down. All right. That's scenario one. We'll put that over here. All right. So break, retest, go down to the next node. Scenario two is, and these are the plays I really like, because, and I'll tell you why after I show you this. All right, you come up, you break, retest, and you move up to the next node. I like these plays. I do. Because, like, when you're, and I know I'm saying like a lot, sorry, it's been a long day, but when you're trading, all right, when you break a node, you're kind of like, if you're looking for a short, say I'm looking for this scenario. Dude, we've already had this whole push down. This is a much riskier trade, in my opinion, that it could go higher to fill whatever imbalance, candlestick imbalance, we left behind. All right. Especially if there's still a volume imbalance like this, it kind of leaves me wondering, like, all right, where exactly am I going to put my stop loss on this? It makes it a bit tougher to get into a trade. When you drop down to the lower time frames, you can kind of navigate a bit better and have a more precise trade setup. But looking from the larger time frames, it's there's nothing really here. Like the first spot that I would probably keep my stop loss is around this support and resistance right over at 86,150. All right? Just because that's really the only thing I have there other than this big ass imbalance. All right? So that's the first thing that I'm going to look at. I do like these plays, the break. Hold on. I do like these plays where we come up. Let me get my handy dandy. Let me see where we at. I always lose this. Where we come up here and retest, because now this move up, you usually find something nice right around here that you can keep that stop loss pretty tight. All right. So I think it's more of like a like a center court shot at the end of time in a basketball game where if it works, there's no risk behind it. If I miss, what happens? I get stopped out for a little loss. If you miss the half court shot, what happens? Time runs out and they don't get the ball. You tried your best, you know? So I kind of like these. These are nice plays, and you can find nice returns back into the zone with these retests. So that's what I'm kind of keeping an eye out on now. But like I said, that's just the macro standpoint. Now we can kind of try to refine these areas based upon the more local standpoint. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this anchor volume profile. Oh, don't want to do that. And I'm just going to come up over here. All right, takes us, so give us the volume within there. And you can see a lot of these kind of match up. There are a couple that you would have missed if you were only looking at the macro. So like this one right here. What did we have? We had a break and a retest. All right, we had a retest up here. This was a little tougher, lower time frames. It looks a little better, but what other nodes do we have here that we didn't have on the other one? We have this guy up here. This one I'm a little less concerned about just because it's at $95,000. It's $10,000 away. There's no reason for me to be concerned about that when we're at 83. Anything down here, you can see the volume node is actually more of a zone. You have this guy, but you also have the POC there. All right, so you got these two little areas that, could be. So I like this one because it's the POC. It's the highest volume bar at that area or at that level. So I'll just keep that, but I will understand when looking at this, and it'll make sense from a support and resistance standpoint, that this is the zone. That's the whole node. And you can see, look how many times we've treated it as support. We're just now testing it as resistance. All right, so now I feel confident enough where I can zoom in. So I'm going to change these colors to, let's see, to blue. All right, so we know. Blue. Boom, what other one was here that wasn't on the other one? I think that was in this one right here. Boom, blue. All right, I'm just color coding. Me, I normally keep the same colors. Volume's volume. I look for ranges within these volume imbalances. All right, so now start zooming in. All right, you can see the true. What did we do? All right, remember I said this was a zone. That's why this doesn't really surprise me. This really doesn't surprise me. All right, on the hour, you see we broke underneath, we came back up, phew, sucked right back down. All right, where did we come back up to? Where are we finding some type of trouble? Back in this same exact zone. All right, so what I would really enjoy seeing, and it's the weekend, so I don't know if we'll get this, or maybe we'll get it because of the low liquidity, is a push up, down, and back up. And a retest of this level over here. All right, so the higher volume node sits where my red line is, but you can see the POC of the lower volume node sits right over here. So I would like to see a proper retest of that level. All right, but I can zoom in a little bit more where a perfect setup actually took place if you traded this. Where we had this guy right here. Hold on. Came down, broke up, broke back down, retest. We actually retested here, so you could have taken this trade twice. You could have taken this retest down, and then when we come back up here, this retest back down. All right, so that's a perfect example what I'm really looking for when it comes to breaking a level and retesting it. All right, I do keep track of my higher and lower time frame volume levels because it's important. It's truly important to keep track of what happened on the higher time frames and the lower time frames and where majority of the volume is sitting at, because you start drawing little tiny 5-minute range, 15-minute ranges, 20-minute ranges, you're getting a good story, and yeah, there's probably an imbalance there that's going to fill. But if you look at it in the total context, you're going to realize that, oh, okay, that level isn't as important as it's being made out to be by the lower time frame volume pool. So right now, guys, like I would love to say, I said in the chat earlier today that this level is going to be, I actually said it last night when I popped in Phoenix's stream. This level is going to be the real deal. All right. If we get over this, I definitely think we make a clear path back up to 87, 88K. All right. So, what I would like to see, bullish scenario, would be us break above, retest, head up to here. I don't know why my here, here, up. All right. Now, when we get up to that level, I'll be looking at two things. But at the bullish scenario, break above the level, retest, and then where are we headed? Back up to the next one, and so on and so forth. Bearish, bearish. All right. One thing I could possibly see happening is a break of this, so SFPing this high, and then heading back under, retesting, and going. That's kind of the complex bearish one. The more simple one would be just us rejecting where we're at and taking out this low. All right, this isn't a good look, man. We got equal lows down here, semi-equal lows, which are actually, I can see it on the one, I think. Semi-equal lows. They're only off by a couple $100. So like there is stuff for us to come back down. So this is entirely possible. So those are really my four plays that I'm going to be taking, or two plays. So three plays, because we have the complex one where we SFP this. So I would like, so you're going to have two instances of probably coming up here, maybe equal highs, retest, and going. Lower time frame setup, you might see it, and catch it to go to the moon. But I think a safer play, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe this doesn't happen the way I think it's going to happen, but would be SFPing this level, getting some type of structure on the way down. Hold on. Let me try to, I'm going to use a path tool. All right. So SFPing this level. All right. Getting some type of downward structure, not just a straight freaking sell off. I don't want to long those. Now, what I'm doing is I'm taking the retest after that. I would like to see a market structure change. All right. So now, am I going to take, there's kind of two plays with this. Let me lower this so it can be a little bit more precise. Just grabbing everything. Boom. Right there. So that's our market structure break. Now, so what am I doing? Am I going to long into this one? That could work. You would get a prime time, what's it called? Entry. And you'd have a tighter stop loss than if you're about to do it the second way. But I don't think it's as secure. All right. So you could have this. Let me draw it for you guys real quick. You take the retest, you put your stop under the low. Obviously, the first logical place that you're going to put it is somewhere around the high, a 3R trade. All right. Or to kind of, because you want to keep this, because it could also just SFP this high again. So it would be kind of silly not to take profit at that high. You know what I mean? Risk a percent, get almost 4%. Now, the second trade that I'm talking about is on the double break. All right, so the double break, so we have our breaker structure here. All right, so we have downward structure. You see we're making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Higher high, that's our break. All right, so we have break number one on this one. Now, let me get back so we have break number one here. All right, this broke this previous this internal flaggy like downtrend. Okay, so now what I'm looking for is the retest and break number two. So this guy right here. So now this one, like I said, you're going to have a little wider stop loss, but I think this kind of, again, you still run the risk of SFPing this high. This would be nicer if, say, you had something like that where that high wasn't so high that you could say, hey, with this second break, I'm going to long into that. All right. So that would give you not as good as an R&R, but it gives you a little. I would put the stop underneath the HVN on that level, but the high, or the where I think it's going to go, is probably up to the next node, because I feel like this double break, so we had a market structure shift, a retest, and then that retest caused us to make another higher high after the market structure shift. I think that gives a little bit more confidence that, you know what, we're going to take this up to the next node, the next macro node, or the next local node, whichever one you're looking at. So, like I said, the risk to reward isn't amazing, but I definitely feel a little bit more confident after that double break. It's showing that this level actually had some action before going up. So those are kind of the two setups I would look for going through this. So be careful with this SFP. All right. Because you could also get one of these. You could also get one of these where you come up. All right. SFP, try to come down for the retest. That fails, come down, and then you retest it here. Then it gets sucked down, sweeps the low. All right, so you definitely got to pay attention in this area. The SFP will be a good judge, because you know what? I would like to see, for me to get a retest, I want to see an SFP. Me personally, I would like to see an SFP, because now I know if this retest works out, the liquidity from this area is already taken. So we have a higher chance of, pretty much going up to the next important high. Yeah, sure, the SFP high is pretty important, but there hasn't been that much time and that much liquidity. That SFP hasn't proven itself to have the liquidity that this had. Because think about it, you had a bunch of traders in here. How do we know that? Because the bunch of traders here caused this low to get broken. You had a follow through, a push down after that low was broken. So if you snatch the liquidity from there, stop all these guys out. Sure, some of them might move, try to short it again after the SFP, but you're not going to have as many participants here, especially if you're noticing that you're getting support at that high volume node. You're realizing they don't have the mustard to get it back underneath here. You saw this, we didn't do anything. We came down, straight broke through it. They had the mustard. They had all the sauce to get down through there. All right. So if you're noticing reactions on there, it's kind of like a head scratcher. You're like, all right, what's going on? What's going on around there? So, that's kind of what I'm looking at moving forward over the weekend. I will be back to trade. Next weekend is going to be a lot more chill for me, or next week is going to be a lot more chill versus this week. I was cooking every single day. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff for an event we had today. So I was bricked the whole time. Everything. I couldn't do anything this week trading wise. But yeah, going into next week, hopefully it just slows down. Hopefully we just kind of hang out here. All right? Because if we hang out here, that's a good sign, because support, like what we know about support and resistance, is if you consolidate under support, there's a good chance you're going to break it. Because what are we doing? We're building short positions up at the high volume node. That's partly what's causing the consolidation. You have people shorting each time we come up to that high volume node. So there's a good chance you might just break through it. All right. And take us to that SFP or retest. There are more risky ways to enter these trades. This is not, I don't recommend this like straight off of breaks, because you can see this isn't perfect. We've had tons of breaks, and what happens? We just get sucked back down. So, I like to have a little bit more confidence. I don't want to be staring at my phone the whole time. I rather have a confident trade, put the trade in, put my stop loss, put my take profits, and walk away. Don't manage it. I'd rather do that. You know what? I'm more willing than to just get into a trade, because that's essentially, if you're taking just the break, that's what all these pattern traders do. That's what all these knife catchers do. They just try to hop into a trade because they get so excited. Don't do that. Wait for confirmations. Wait for confirmations. I definitely think that would be awesome. I think that's the best play. When you have your confluences, when you have your confirmations, taking in trades, that's when you notice that you're having much better trading success because you have your plan. You have your plan, guys, and failing the plan is planning to fail. And I know that's corny, I know it's cliche as hell, but it's true. If you don't have a plan going into it, if you're just hopping into trades just like, "Oh, let's see what happens," there's a good chance that you're going to get wrecked. You're going to F around and you're going to find out. So look for the confirmations. Other than that, guys, that's really, we're kind of in a zone right here. This 84 was the real deal. This 84, I told you, was going to be resistance moving forward. Um, Hopefully, we can flip it into support and move up. Do I think we're going to make it all the way back up to 100K? I don't know yet. I really don't know. If we can't get over 84K, what makes you think we can't even get close to 100K to break it? You know what I mean? So now, if we get over 84, retest, move up, next spot 87, 88, right around here. All right. If we get over that, next spot is here. If we get over that, so on, so forth, on and on again, etc., etc., etc. All right. It's a very simple, very elementary way school of trading, but it's powerful, man. You can see, look at these. Like, we come down, what do we retest off of? After we break this low, we come back up, find support. Let's see the lower time frames. Hold on, I'll show you this right now. Unless my computer just froze on me. There we go. All right. So what did we do? What did we do, guys? Let me get over here. We broke down, came up, found resistance, broke down. What did we do over here? Came back up, broke down, found resistance, boom, going down. All right. All the way down, guys, you notice how these volume profiles tend to do that. Look at this, even touching the edges of the volume profiles. All right, filling these imbalances. Guys, it's a very stupid, simple way of looking at the market, but it gives you a lot of information. There's a lot of data, man. This volume is very powerful. Same with the volume at the bottom of the charts that you guys usually hide and stuff. That's a very valuable indicator. All right. Like, it's real time data. It's showing you what's actually going in and out of the market at any point in time. And I think that's pretty awesome. And you know what? Like I said, these levels tend to match for the most part. All right. At least they're reflective, meaning they might not be the same dollar level, but they match the same area on the chart. You know what? So I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a very valuable tool to use. And honestly, guys, moving forward, I think you guys should try using volume profiles more and see what type of success you can get with it. And again, guys, I'll say this, I say it a million times. These levels are not entry. These are not entries. They're not. This is not a setup. The setup is the break, the retest. Longing or shorting these levels blindly without realizing the context of the overall market, of the price action, of the market structure, of the momentum, you're going to find yourself in a sticky situation. This gives you point of interest. This gives you areas to look out for. I want to see clear market structure shifts on those retests. Because, guys, I say all the time, break and retest, break and retest. But like I said, what exactly do I want to see? In a bearish move, when we come up, when we retest it, I want to see a market structure break followed by, followed by a retest. And I'm shorting that. What do I want to see on the bullish side? I want to see a break, some type of market structure like that. Boom, break, retest. I have my entry criteria after we reach the point of interest. All right, so be careful with the high volume nodes, but also give it a shot. All right, don't be too scared of it. It's not gonna ruin your life if you put a couple of them on your chart. All right, but other than that, guys, I think that's it for tonight. I've been going like 30 minutes, so I think that's enough yapping for me. So I really hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'll try to post this up as quick as possible. And you know what? God bless and take it easy, guys. Peace.